Welcome to Third Shot Podcast. I hope you have your shots ready. In the meantime, please take your phones out, go to our social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Third Shot Podcast. You can also find us on X at Third Shot Pod. And also check out our website, thirdshotpodcast.com, where we feature all of our previous episodes along with some blog posts and some fancy Third Shot apparel.
Yes, there is.
All
Mm.
right, Uncle, you got your shot ready?
I do got my shot ready. Cheers.
Cheers.
Trying something a little different today.
What are you going with?
Well, I do my soju from Korea, right? I
Yes.
do my whiskey from Ireland or wherever. And
Mhm.
today, I actually have a Japanese vodka seltzer.
Whoa. Did you have that when you went to Japan?
Yes, they were advertising this like crazy when we were in Japan, and I haven't been able to find it here in America until fairly recently. Found it, and
Ooh.
now that's kind of my refreshing drink. If I don't
What's
do
it
soju, I'm doing this.
what describe to me as well as our listeners, what does it taste like?
It is like a citrusy vodka carbonated drink.
That sounds kinda nice.
Yeah, so it's a very refreshing vodka, like, mix. Like, it's a vodka tonic with a heavy twist.
Ooh, okay. I might be
That's what
into
it is.
that. What
Yeah.
is next on your world tour of alcohol?
Drinks of alcohol. Actually, for a while, I was really into Japanese whiskeys,
Mm.
and I kind of been off it for a little while, and I'm thinking maybe over the holidays, I'm gonna bring in some Japanese whiskey and have that. For
Nice.
a while, it wasn't that popular here in America, and then all of
Mhm.
a sudden and you can get a good bottle for reasonably priced. Now they're just so expensive. Like, a good Japanese whiskey is, like, really expensive for a bottle right now.
Where do you find it? At the, like, international markets?
Now you can find it at Costco, you can find it at beverages what is not Beverages and More. What's the, wine
Evmo
you
Oh,
can find it with Bevmo, you can find it at the wine
Total Wines or
Total
something?
Wines and More, whatever that's called,
Yeah.
yeah. You can find them pretty much everywhere, but they're just really expensive,
Mm.
but it's worth it.
Oh.
Very, very good. Since I'm in Japan right now with my seltzer, I'm gonna go keep staying in Japan, just go to the next town over and get the whiskey.
There you go. Well, it's funny you're drinking a world tour because there is a bit of a world tour going on right now, right? With the pickleball world championship going on. That's super exciting.
That is, and I haven't seen the stats yet of, like, how many countries are represented, but it's gotta be growing and growing, right? I mean, and every time we talk to somebody, we hear how popular pickleball is growing across the globe right now,
Right, yeah.
and I know with the World Championships going on, the big discussion is when is pickleball gonna be in the Olympics? So, do
Yes.
you think it should be in the Olympics anytime soon?
I think, yes, that it should definitely be. And I think we talked about this too back when the Olympics were going on as
Yeah.
well. But this is helping. I think tournaments like these, when we host world championships, definitely kind of support the decision to kind of put it into the Olympics where they can hopefully see that, the sport is super popular both here in the States, but also internationally. And I'm also super curious to see how many countries are represented at this past tournament because looking at the way the tournament set up, they said they had over 300 different brackets. So I'd
That's
be
a lot.
really interested to see who was represented, where the strongest players are coming from. But yeah, I think that'll definitely help with the decision to put it back into or put it into the Olympics. I mean, if that break dancer made it, come on.
Right? But they got canceled. It was a one and done, right? Breakdancing's was, in the last Olympics and then
That's
no
true.
more. I don't want that to happen to pickleball, but I don't think it will because,
I don't think so either.
right, there's international tournaments. We hear a lot about the English Open, right? We talked to a few
Yes.
people that played in that. There was another event maybe last month that was in South America, right? I think Peru, maybe?
Peru, yeah, there was a world event there.
I see a lot of pickleball down in Australia right now, huge down in
Mhm.
Australia. Canada is huge, and I just wonder, like, how many like, when the Olympic Committee looks at, bringing on a new sport, does it need to have enough popularity in 20 different countries, 100 different countries? Like, what's the requirement before they consider it for an Olympic sport?
Yeah, that is kind of interesting too to kind of what is the criteria, right, to
Yeah,
get a sport into the Olympics? What does it take? But
like
the
skateboarding.
yeah, international interest is definitely there. I think it's been proven this past year for sure, but you go back in previous years too, and it's just growing exponentially.
Yeah, and I know it's not gonna be in this upcoming Olympics 4 years from now, but I think over that 4-year period of time, pickleball is gonna continue growing, 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 so that when the next Olympics happens, the conversation is gonna come up again, like what sport's gonna be introduced for the 2028 Olympics. Or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, 2032 Olympics, and when they have that conversation in 2028, pickleball's gotta be, like, one of the top sports at that point as far as participation, right? It's overtaken tennis, overtaken golf, and it's like so many people are playing it in America, and I think in the next 4 years, it's gonna be the fastest growing sport in all these other countries as well too.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that they would do it like double singles or team?
Oh,
Which way do you think they would lean?
I think they would do all of it. I think they would do all of it. I think it's like, what sport right now do they do, like, the gymnastics, right? You got the
Oh, true.
individuals, right? You have the team event, and then you have the individual by apparatus events, right?
Mhm.
So I could just see singles, doubles, mixed doubles, and then team.
Yeah.
And then, like, volleyball right now, beach volleyball, they have 2 different teams per country usually. Right, US has a couple teams, Brazil has a couple of teams, right? All the different beach volleyball teams will have 2 teams, entering. So I kinda see the same thing for pickleball. Like, each country gets 2 sets of teams, and then the individual players and the doubles, and yeah, I think it would be huge if they did it that way.
Yeah. That'd make it a very full, like, comprehensive event, which, man, they just
I
put
know.
it in there. Come on.
So here's another question I didn't even think about until just now. It's like, okay, in pickleball, there's a lot of senior events, right? There's, the NLP, which is a, over 50 league.
Mhm.
When you play the PPA tournaments, APP tournaments, there's a 50 and over. There's different age brackets, right?
Right.
Do you think the Olympics? I can't think of another sport in the main Olympics that's broken out by age, but that would be super interesting if they tried that.
That would be. I think if it were to be put in the Olympics, though, they wouldn't go that route of doing age brackets just to keep it similar to how the other sports are currently set up.
Mhm.
But I do think that they would maybe do like an offshoot. You know how they have um
Like the Special
other Olympic
Olympics
events like Special Olympics or
or
something
the
along those lines.
Paralympics, they could have Senior
Paralympics,
Olympics,
yes.
right?
Yeah, so you can have like senior Olympics and maybe like people who've competed in Olympics in the past and are more seasoned now can go and participate in these, or just somebody out of the blue can come in and this is their second chance at a gold.
Well, the other thing is, like, there's certain countries that don't have a lot of athletes, but there's one athlete that can excel in a certain sport, and literally, sometimes when you see the parade of countries, like, one country might have 5 athletes. Maybe
Yeah,
one country that doesn't have athletes that could compete in any other event but pickleball, and they send their 4 best.
that would be amazing. I would love to see that.
I bet you there's countries that could pull that off.
I think so too. If they just concentrate all of their training into these four
4 people
athletes.
in one
Yeah.
sport and, easy entry, right? It's like, let's do it.
That would be awesome to see. Which countries do you think, like top 3 countries, would you predict to come strong if pickleball were added.
Well, US, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
I'm thinking Australia just because the popularity is so great in Australia right now.
Okay.
Um, Canada, I think there's a lot of pickleball play in Canada. We keep hearing in the UK, it is so popular in the UK, more in UK than other countries right now in Europe. So I think UK would have a real strong team. I don't know, what do you think?
I would put us up there as well, in my biased opinion. Maybe
There's a lot of resorts in Mexico that are really promoting pickleball right now, so I don't know if the locals are playing it as much,
I
but I
feel
think
like they
Mexico.
put it for, like, Americans
You think
to
so?
come and play. I think so because I haven't seen much about, like, Central and South America on how it's taking off down there, but definitely UK, it's
Yeah.
been, you know,
But
been
maybe with this, event they're doing in Peru, that they just recently did in Peru, maybe
that's
that's gonna bring a
true.
lot of interest for the local athletes in South America.
Yeah. I don't know, that'd be really cool to see that, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So, it's something to look forward to. Again, it's not gonna happen in the 2028 Olympics, but possibly 2032. I think our podcast is gonna be the stimulus to make this happen, and for the Olympic Committee, they
Exactly.
are gonna listen to Third Shot, and they're gonna realize, "Yeah, we do need it in the Olympics in 2032."
Yes, if our show doesn't change that trajectory, I don't know what can.
Right? It's gotta be Third Shot. And speaking of team events, I just played in a team event,
Mm,
over at the Walnut Creek Pickleball Club, held a team event over the weekend, and, I got to play a brand new paddle, gorgeous from
she's a
4
beauty.
Joy Paddles. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I got a lot of interest in the paddle, and, I'm gonna hold off the results of how I played with it for when we talk to Stacey Cleary. She is the founder of Ford Choi Pals. Boy, the shot has really gotten to me. Now I realize these Japanese seltzers are pretty darn strong,
They don't
but
mess around, huh?
they don't mess around. But we have Stacey Cleary. She is the founder of Four Joy Paddles, and she has an amazing story and an amazing paddles. I see your paddle behind you as well. So we
Yes.
will talk a little bit about our experience with Stacey. And while we bring her in, please go check us out online, whether it be Facebook or Instagram at Third Shot Podcast, on X Third Shot Pod. As Bridgie said earlier, we got some cool stuff going on our website, which is thirdshotpodcast.com. YouTube, so you can see how gorgeous these paddles truly are. So check us out, Third Shot Podcast, when you look us up on YouTube. So I can't wait to find out more about Stacey Cleary. So hold on, let's bring Stacey in. Hey, Stacey, welcome to Third Shot.
Hello, hello. Good to see you. So
Good to
happy to
see
be
you
here.
too. We're super excited for you to be here and to talk about your beautiful paddles.
Thank you.
Before we brought you in, Uncle Greg did a quick reminder to our listeners. YouTube is the best option for this episode, so you can see for your own eyes just how beautiful these paddles actually are. But if you can't watch on YouTube, you could always listen and then go check out the website and Instagram, which we'll talk about later in the show. But before we jump into it, we do want to do a quick toast to For Joy and for Stacey joining us today. Cheers.
Yay. Cheers.
Cheers to For Joy. Woo.
Mine's a little bigger than a shot, but
That's okay. We
yeah,
don't measure around here.
okay.
And before you jumped on, I was drinking my shots, and it obviously hit me already because I was having a heck of a time just getting the words out in the opening segment. So
I'm here to help you. Don't worry.
hang in there with me. Hang
I
in there.
will.
So, Stacey, we're super excited to hear your story. Please share with us how you first started playing pickleball.
Well, my husband and I actually started during COVID, like many people did. We were very lucky actually because he had signed up for the spring summer session before COVID actually hit, and we had the shutdown, and so we were already in, so we were super excited to be able to just get outside and see humans. Um and so we were out there with our masks in the middle of the summer when it was really hot, and tapping paddles, and that's how we sort of just got addicted almost immediately. Just it was just so fun and so easy to pick up, and we just started making all these new friends. And it's, I think, the age old story of pickleballers, right? You pick up the paddle once and you're kind of hooked, and you can't wait to play again. And then you're out there practicing, and we bought like a net that we set up in our driveway, and we were practicing our dinks out there. And so yeah, it was 20 it was summer of 2020.
You were big into tennis prior to playing pickleball, so you already kinda had the racket sports in your blood.
A little bit. I mean, I had played tennis. We belonged to like a little, swim pool tennis club with the kids, and so when the kids were in swim lessons, I would play tennis or whatever. But I never felt like I was actually especially very good at tennis.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know. I just couldn't seem to ever really nail the serve, and I felt a lot of pressure with tennis. Like, if you're not up to par with everyone else, it's sort of an awkward sport. If you're like off a little bit, or I don't know, I always felt like I was holding my team back. It was just more internal head game stuff, but that doesn't like exist in pickleball. Like, anybody can just get on the court and feel comfortable, and everyone's so welcoming, and the better players are always like kind of reading who they're playing and adjusting their game to who they're playing with. And that's
Well,
the difference. That's what I love
I'm
about it.
I'm really glad you cannot listen what's going on inside my brain when I'm playing pickleball because there is that voice that's going on in there.
Yeah,
But
I get it.
yeah. Now you had something kinda scary happen to you that's
Yeah.
life-changing. Tell us a little bit about that.
So about a year after we started playing, so 2021, the summer of 2021, um, I had to I had got diagnosed with a brain tumor. So it was just a very scary situation. And they had to surgically remove it, which was,
Mm.
even almost even more scary than. So I had to go down to New York City, NYU. Yeah, it was a really rough surgery and a really rough recovery. It was almost not fully a year of trying to just get back on my feet and get to be a fully functioning human again. So it was tough, but it was life changing because, for one thing, I always was sort of a positive, grateful person, but that just really made me grateful because it was benign. So the fact that it wasn't cancer, and I had actually had some friends lose family members to brain cancer the year before, two different people. And so it was just that playing in my head that, had it been brain cancer, I definitely wouldn't be here right now, because it was a significant tumor, and it was just yeah. So luckily they got the whole thing. I'm fine now, and there's no really major residual effects. So except that I'm even a little more crazy than I was.
Well, that's really
Right.
great to hear, and thank you for sharing that with
Yeah,
us. I'm sure that that whole time was just super scary, but
it
to
was
see you
terrible.
here with us today, healthy, you've got
Yep.
a great paddle line out there.
Thank you.
So we're very, very grateful for that as well. Share with us what your career was before you got started with For Joy, and let us know if that had any sort of effect on your direction with For Joy.
For sure. Yeah. So I actually have had multiple careers throughout my life. I'm sort of one of those jack of all trades. I'm interested in so many different things. I actually had a business background, and was in the office furniture, office design world. And then after 9/11 happened, I actually decided to go back to school and get my master's in education. I wanted to do something that mattered and had purpose. And sort of that's always been inside of me, of just needing to have something more, something that gives back, something that's has a positive impact. So I was actually a special ed teacher for a number of years, and then I was a art major in college. I was a fine arts major, and then transitioned to being an art teacher. So the art background is sort of where the paddles come in because one of the things that we noticed when we first started playing were, the paddles on the rack and everyone would put their paddles up and who's up next. And I just kept seeing all these gray and black and boring paddles and it was just sort of, there was just these moments of scratching my head and saying, I don't understand. Like, why is there no color? So when I went to buy a new paddle after I got better from my surgery, I was searching online and searching online for anything with design and color, but that was a high performance paddle. And that's where the idea started to really roll in my head of like, wait a minute, like, well, if there's not one out there, maybe I should make one. And so, yeah, it wasn't definitely was not that easy, but it was just where the beginning of the idea came from.
So what was the process? Because I mean, there's probably two sides to it that I can think of for you is like the design side as far
Mhm.
as the graphics go, but there's also the design side of like how do I make a really quality paddle? And
Right.
that's what you've done here. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Right. So the design side really is its own animal, right? So and that's my joy. Like I love making the designs. I could do it hours and hours and did do it hours and hours. And I would make all these designs and show them to my friends and family and I would have them vote on them and it was so much fun. And
So
then I made
I want to interrupt.
yeah.
How many designs do you think you actually came up with before you decided on what you created the four designs you have right now?
I mean, it's really hard to answer that questions because there's iterations of each design too. And so I have different iterations of even these four, but then there probably was at least 20 and then multiply those 20 by 10 and you know what I mean? Because there's all
Wow.
these different yeah. So and I'm always like playing with ideas in my head. So there's a whole lot more going on. Like you said, that voice of night, there's a lot going on, like ideas. And I just get inspiration from everything. So it could be something someone's wearing, like a fabric or, upholstery. A bird that's flying across. I actually have a paddle with a bird design. It's just one of the mock-ups I did. But so yeah, so the design process is its own thing. And then the construction of the paddle was really where I needed to educate myself. And that took quite a long time. Yeah. I had to, we worked actually with a manufacturing consultant, someone who has a manufacturing background, and then I did all this research on, paddle components and structure and all of that, and then it was, getting the prototypes and finding the right factory to work with, and so it was quite the process. Yeah,
I can only imagine. And on top of it, you are also designing and creating the graphics for these paddles too. So,
right.
gosh, you must have been so busy.
I basically never sleep. Yeah.
For the people watching and also listening, you have some paddles there with you.
Yes.
If you want to just show real quick and kind of talk about what they look like and
Yep.
how you name them, so that
Yeah.
way they can get an idea of what you have to offer.
Sure. So there's right now there's four different designs and that just goes with the name. And it also helped me narrow down when I had all these designs going that I needed to focus and not over extend the inventory process. And also I don't want to overwhelm my customers with too many choices. I just kind of wanted to start slow. So um, the one I'm holding up is the damask. If you can't see, it's a blue design. I love the color blue. It's really one of my favorite colors, and I knew I wanted to have a paddle that had sort of a base of blue. And this is actually inspired by a fabric, so that's why it's called damask. And then this originally was called the mandala, so it's a circle design with like a spiral almost. And I've this one I had so many different iterations of colors on, um, and then I renamed it the Fit because that's my maiden name is Fitzgibbon. So
Oh,
Fitz is a family name, and it came to me at night that like I really want to like have something to do with my family, and my dad was really happy that I needed the fits.
Uh,
And so, and I really thought of the fits as being the more masculine paddle, or the more like I wanted to have something that maybe, but I have just as many women buy this. It's sort of, there is actually no rhyme or reason to the masculine feminine paddle thing, I think. And then the sunset, I guess you could call either the sunrise or the sunset, but I call it the sunset because it's my favorite time of day. And this one I had a lot of fun designing because I did a lot of the blending and I was kind of moving colors around. Um, and yeah, just this one really makes me happy. And this is one of my biggest sellers. And it's pretty much 50-50 men and women who buy the sunset. And then the palm, which you have, Bridgie,
Yes, I
is,
love it.
I know, isn't it great? This was one of the
Beautiful.
designs early on that I was like, I'm definitely doing this design. Like, I don't care if nobody else likes it. Like, this is happening. I wanted something botanical, something with, that wasn't too flowery, but still had a little hint of flower, and
Yeah.
yeah. So those are the initial four.
And tell us a little bit about the specs of the paddles, like, the width, yeah, tell us the specs, because
Sure.
we
So
got some gearheads that listen to the show that love the specs.
okay, here you go. So they are thermoformed paddles, 16 mil. They are 16.3 long. So they have elongated handle, a 5.5-inch handle for the two-handed backhands. They're about 7.45 wide. They have the T700 carbon fiber, with a responsive honeycomb core. So we were careful to get high quality honeycomb core. And they have this textured grit over the paint. So it's a very durable grit. I know that tends to be a question, but that it really has lasted. And of course, the carbon fiber is great for that durability and that resilience in your strikes. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it, and the thermoforming goes all the way down it's integrated into the handle. So a lot of thermoforming, stops right about here. And so this is a high quality thermoforming process. The other thing we did differently about the paddle, that is unique to ForJoy, is the grip itself. So what's underneath this vegan leather grip wrap, which I love, it's got that nice rib to it, is a little bit of a softer composite material underneath that. So that's why it's so comfortable in your hand. So we really worked on the grip because I've had arm and elbow and shoulder issues way before starting pickleball, and I knew the grip was going to be an important thing that might make a difference to people. So yeah.
Well, it is definitely a quality paddle and it looks beautiful too. I do want to tell you when I first got the package, I had my nephew with me and
Mhm.
he was like, "Oh, can I help you?" So I had him help me unbox and when he saw it, he was like, "Oh, I think this is the prettiest paddle that you've ever gotten." And
Yay.
so he was super into it and then he after looking at it was like, "Well, what other designs does she have?" So I pulled up your website and had him looking and he was like, well, all of them are just beautiful. And I was like, you're right, they are. And that's been the response across the board that I get from people is that once they see the one design, they're automatically like hooked and they want to see what other designs are out there. And they love them all, really.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic, amazing response. I couldn't be more happy with the positive feedback, and almost even more than the designs, the fact that people love how the paddles play and the quality level of the paddle. That was harder than the designs. Like I could come out with more designs, that's what I do, but I knew like I needed to get the paddle right, and that's and the fact that, I mean, like on my website, they're all 5-star reviews. I haven't had one return. It's been just what I was hoping for.
So I got to give you a little feedback
Please do.
on the paddle.
Yeah.
And please take this the right way because this is meant to be a compliment.
Okay,
I
great.
I did the unboxing. I didn't have our nephew with me, but I did the unboxing by myself, and I have the sunset paddle, and it was so gorgeous. I'm going, "How good could this paddle be? It's so good looking," right? So I unbox it, I text you or, I'm kinda telling you I can't wait to go play it tonight. I go out to the courts and I'm warming up, and you know how everybody warms up, they're just dinking around a little bit, right? I'm dinking forehand, dinking backhand, do a little cross court. I'm going, "Hey, this paddle feels really, really good, like really good. Very solid, good touch." Then I start driving a few balls, playing in match, and I'm, like, killing it. Like, everybody's going, "Greg, what's up with you tonight?" Right? I'm like and then, up at the kitchen, people were, like, trying to smash me and stuff like that, and I I was hitting the ball so square when people were trying to speed up on me or drive me, and I was at the kitchen, I was hitting it so square, and the ball was coming off so solid,
Yeah.
and everybody's going, "Whoa." Like, it was a noticeable difference. It wasn't me. The paddle I mean, they've been playing
Amazing.
with me for 2 years, so it wasn't me. So, all of a sudden, the paddle helped me kinda level up. And then, I was practicing because I had a team tournament, yesterday.
Okay.
So played a team tournament. Great feedback on the look, by the way, of the sunset. I had, like you said, men and women coming up. They all thought I hand painted the paddle myself. I go, no, no, no. This is for joy. I showed them all this, all the
Good.
information.
Cool.
And they thought it was a one of a kind. Like they thought it looked like it was a one of a kind paddle.
That's so
And, so I played 12 games in the tournament, and we went 10-2.
Oh my god.
Our team came in 2nd place
Oh,
by the
congratulations.
tiebreaker. It was cumulative score. We lost by 1 point to
Oh,
on the cumulative score to the team that came in first. So I gotta give a shout out to my teammates, the
yeah.
other Bridgie in my life, Lal, and, No Sleeve Steve. He always plays in tank tops, No Sleeve Steve. So the 4 of
That's
us,
funny.
we almost took it down, but the paddle was, like, really, really performing well.
Oh.
And here's the one everything I loved everything about it, but the one thing that I really noticed,
Mhm.
I could control the distance of my serves way better.
Mm.
Like, I could hit it hard,
Mhm.
topspin, and get it within the last, yard, 3 feet of the
Nice.
court,
Right.
nice and deep,
Yep.
and good pace, good drop on the topspin. So and I could control that
Right.
really, really well. We were getting a lot of free points just off the serve
Off the serve. I love that. Yeah. That's great. Without overhitting it.
without overhitting it. Yeah,
Right.
just my
Yeah.
normal swing on my serve, but I was being able to control the height, the
Yeah.
drop, and just getting in the last 3 feet of the court most of the
That's
time.
I love it. I actually played in a tournament. That's why I'm still in my club. We played in a tournament today as well and did fantastic. And yeah, it's been really performing well at tournaments. So that's another thing that it's starting to get some recognition there. That it's actually this is a paddle that you can take seriously. And it's not just a gimmicky designer paddle. It's got real meat to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, No Sleeve Steve and I, were playing against a couple of guys that were 4 5s that were favored to kinda just dominate the men's side of the team, and we ended up beating them. So,
Yeah.
it was a high level competitive match against good competition, and the paddle it was right
That's
there, right? It was one of the best experiences I've had with a paddle. So,
wow. Oh, that's amazing, Greg. Oh, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to hear that. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's what we were after. It was all about, because when I had this idea to come up with a company, yeah, I know it was very scary to like kind of pull the trigger and go for it. I had the designs and I was mocking them up and I was like, but now do I do this? Like, am I gonna have the guts to do this, like go in and buy, like put in for a trademark, like trademarking the name. That was like the first big investment, because you can't, like, you're not going to print a name on here unless you're going to trademark it. So there's this all these investments that you're like, kind of, what is this going to cost, whatever. But once I decided on the name for Joy, and I decided that this is actually going to happen, one of the I've had a lot of advisors along the way, and one of them, we always agreed that he said, he's like, you can do everything right, but if you don't have a good paddle, like, you're done. Like, it's got, you have to have the, like, it's all about the paddle. So, and that was, that's why we did what we did in terms of, just that process of ordering paddle after paddle after paddle until I found exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, well, I think that was some solid advice, and you've done a really fantastic job kind of vetting through that and finding a great paddle to put out there with some fantastic designs on it too.
Thank you.
For our listeners who may be interested in checking it out a little bit further and making a purchase, what is the best spot for them to find all of that?
So we do have a website. It's forjoypaddles.com. And we do have a special for your wonderful listeners. With the holidays coming, I'm like, I really, I want to be aggressive here. I want to like, really offer the best thing I possibly can. So this is a huge 20% discount off of, I actually have a little discount running right now. That's like a 12% discount. So instead of 169, which is my normal retail price, right now on my website, they're about 149. And you're getting 20% off of that, off of the
Wow.
149. So
That's a
that
great
brings it down to like 119 per paddle, which is a great price for this
For a
quality.
really high performing paddle too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the discount code is 3 shot, the number 3, the word shot, is the discount code that you just go to my website and you put in, and it's free shipping. And every paddle comes with a neoprene cover. So it has that's included in the price. So a lot of, other brands are charging up to $20 for these neoprene covers. So we
Yeah.
just feel like it's an important part of your gear, and it protects the paddle. So this comes with it.
I love
Very
it.
cool. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier that you have all these different ideas in your head. Is there anything that you can kinda tell us as a sneak peek for the future in 2025?
Yeah. So we are coming out with a new line, a new series of paddles called the Amp 4. That we had done a round of like a survey of different new designs, that will be on that. And the Amp 4 is going to have a wider face, and it's slightly shorter handle, but it's still a good handle for a two-handed backhand. It's not going to be a thermoformed paddle, so this is going to have a lower price point. I wanted to, have a little bit more of a welcoming paddle. So if you're on, still that beginning stage, you've already bought your cheap Amazon, $40 paddle, but you want to upgrade, but you don't want to spend over $100. This will be more in that, $85, $90 price range. And yeah, so we're really excited about that. That inventory should be in the beginning of next year. And those new designs, some of them I'll also have on the Premio series, so that the Premio series will now have more design options, as well as this Amp 4 series will have a pretty wide range of design options. So we're just like slowly growing and expanding the offerings, and we have a couple of hats and visors, and just things with a logo on it. So yeah, it's pretty
How
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah.
How exciting for you. I'm so happy that things are going so well. Let's take our 3rd shot.
Yes, let's do it.
Yes.
I'm transition. So this was a protein drink. Now I'm gonna go for my
Now you
pint.
go for oh, that's a drink.
Yes.
Cheers to for
Cheers.
joy. Thank you so much for sending us those paddles.
You're
Really
welcome.
fantastic, great experience playing them. I'm gonna keep playing it.
Please
So
do.
if anybody sees me on the court, look for the sunset. I'll be
Yes.
there.
Great. That's amazing. By the way, we also are, in case there's people who just prefer to buy on Amazon, we are available on Amazon. Just, there's certain people that just will only buy there. But and we will be coming out potentially with another series. I'm looking into like an edgeless paddle.
Hmm.
So those are other things that, maybe later or mid 2025 we might be coming out with. So lots of things in the hopper.
Yeah, we're super excited for you and to see what's next to come. And again, yeah, thank you so much for sending us those paddles, Stacey.
You're
It's been really
welcome.
great
Yes,
having you on here and to hearing your story. And, check out For Joy. They're wonderful.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that so
Yeah.
much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Stacy. And thank you, everybody, for listening to us at Third Shot, where Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey. A real special thanks to Stacy for coming on today. If you want more information, go to their website, which is the number 4joypaddles.com. Also, check them out on Instagram. It's For Joy Paddles. You'll find all the cool looks and designs, and who knows, you might even see a picture of me hitting at a tournament.
Yay.
Yay, right? And then you can support this show by subscribing, and we promise to have more amazing guests just like Stacy in future episodes. Please don't forget when you're ordering, use the discount code, the number 3 word shot. So 3 shot and get that extra 20% off. I'm sure the future designs are going to be gorgeous, but this Christmas, get one of these paddles now. So go onto their website, order away. Let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow this pickleball community together. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.